and by my co-host Mel Tracy. How you doing there, young lady?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing, Jerry?
Hey, I'm hunky dory. I'm feeling pretty good after I got back into the air conditioning.
Oh, good. I know. It has been hot. I've been outside all day myself.
But hey, we're having fun. We're having fun up in archaeology week, and kids are really good workers. These are sixth, seventh, and eighth graders, so um, they're much better to work with than 9, 10, and 11-year olds. So they're doing a great job. The heat doesn't seem to be bothering them, and there'll be some rewards for them coming up in the next couple of days. So we're looking forward to tomorrow. We're hoping that we're going to be able to find some cool stuff tomorrow. So all right, I'm going to start uh our oops, I hit the wrong button. uh Out of practice here. There we go. So we're going to start the Zoom Rock Room. We always do the introduction, and most of you have probably have this all memorized by now. But you just heard Melanie Tracy on the other end, our co-host. She does a lot of background things to pull off the Zoom Rock Room. You may not see her a lot, but she's pushing buttons back there. So welcome to the Zoom Rock Room tonight. I believe this is the 128th edition of the Zoom. If you're just new, we started this in April of 2020, and with the COVID coming in, and we've kind of continued it, still continue it. Although we backed off from every Tuesday to first and third Tuesday now of each month. So the Zoom Rock Room is always presented by Lair Architect in Lake Havasu City. And again, as I always say, I do appreciate some of you that have sent Paul and Marcella Lair emails, thanking them for backing the Zoom Rock Room. They're signed on now for another year of Zoom. So you can always contact them at lairarchitect@yahoo.com. And if you have any projects in Arizona that you'd like to have designed, Paul's the man to do it. He's doing some pretty elaborate stuff out there at this moment, designing for the future, as they say. Melanie.
Alrighty. This week, the Dirt Man Report. As always, Andrew, he produces fantastic videos that are entertaining, sometimes a little bit goofy, really fun, very entertaining. And I believe we do have a new one tonight. But if you have missed any, you can always go on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and rewatch some of these videos. If you have missed any. Like I said, they are all very entertaining, very educational, and very fun to watch. Bringing geology to you is their slogan. They are always a proud supporter of the Zoom Rock Room, and I believe all of the videos do get aired to us first. We are the first ones to see them when they have new videos, so we are very blessed to have that.
All right, we're gonna move on and look at a video here.
Perfect.
I think there we go.
Dirtman here with another special report, this time from the Sterling Hill Mining Museum in Ogdensburg, New Jersey, the fluorescent capital of the world. I've never even done fluorescence before. I've never even been here. So let's go check it out. Let's check out some actual geology here at Sterling Hill Mining.
Trade your spot with the can there.
First started working here, I asked my friend Chris, how much were we making? He goes, $3.45 an hour. I had no recollection, and I said, no way. Days when it's 10 miles an hour, we were 50 miles up at 40 miles. He's starting to do something. I said, you're not gonna. Oh.
You could put You're gonna be setting up a round pit that I can put on those.
So Will Knight, any Will Knight, there's some relax tonight, and there's some blue hydro zinc ice. So turn off the lights here. And that's what you see in the Natural History Museum, except it's 19 feet long by 10 feet high.
Superman here next to awesome fluorescent display. Look at it. There are over 700 fluorescent minerals and objects on display here at Sterling Hills Warren Museum of Fluorescence. Fluorescence occurs when excited molecules try to relax by releasing their energy as light photons, creating a neon glow. But even though I'm here at the fluorescent capital of the world, I'm not here to look at a bunch of rocks. I'm actually here for a different reason today.
Madam Secretary, will you read the slide, please?
Slide is for president, Mr. Dirkman himself.
All right, I'll move that we, slate and submit it. We got a second? Approve the slate. Mark, let's get a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any names? Are there any names? Okay, motion carried unanimously. Great, Randy. Duties are distracted in high lot of duties consideration people perform your duties and prevent your abilities. So show us hand up. I will. I'm done.
The FMLS is an organization that helps out clubs across the East Coast. We have 9,974 members this year, and we provide benefits like insurance and awards and all kinds of activities for youth. It's a great organization, and I'm honored to be president. Over the coming year, I plan on bringing many new initiatives to the EFMLS to get our name out there and to let every single one of our members know exactly what we do and how we help them. I'll still be bringing the Dirtman report, but for now, let's go check out some rocks. This place has it all, including a miner sleuths for the kids who are here enjoying panning out some stuff, getting some fool's gold and some different minerals. Wow. Look at that. That is a big amethyst cluster. Very cool. That is a nice one. But the Sterling Hill Mining Museum is so much more than just a fluorescent museum. They have specimens from around the world that are museum quality that you would see in the Smithsonian. Absolutely amazing. Oh, there's that guy.
Welcome to the museum.
Besides their world-class mineral collection, they also have fossils and meteorites here too. Roar.
On the conveyor system that we're going to walk into, there are some specimens, so feel free to take a specimen.
Thank you. I should be using that flashlight.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Separated by size.
So we had a little break in the tour real quick, and I figured I'd interview Sean Stimmick. He makes these awesome UV lights that I've been using to actually find specimens on this tour. So I wanted to say, hey, how do we get this? How does everyone viewing this get one of these?
Hey guys, you can stop over at perkyboxes.com. The shortwave, midwave are $100 each, long wave $80, or buy a kit, reach out for $260.
All right. All right. Well, everyone go there. These work great. Back to the tour. Wow. York, PA. Awesome. That is so cool.
Yeah, back here's your rotators. Yeah, this is where your rotation starts. You can see the gear wheels down in here.
This rotary oven is from where I live in York, PA. Pickles. They're still good. Milk in a can. So we've got milk and pickles.
So this all one point was part of the mountain. From here to here. So when things started to dry up, and what I understand in the mines themselves, they started open pit mining. Just imagine all this being flat so that you'd be able to get in there and relax.
This has been an amazing weekend here at the Sterling Hill Mining Museum. I'm now the president of the EFMLS, and this tour has been just eye-opening and amazing. So, Dirtman here, bringing geology to you from here at the Sterling Hill Mining Museum in Ogdensburg, New Jersey. Back to you, Jared.
Okay,
Congratulations,
great video, Andrew. That was a great one. If you've never been to Sterling for fluorescence, that's a great tour, and as you showed, a great museum. And you also
Thank you. I did want to say none of you heard the music. There were sound effects. There was all kinds of stuff that you all didn't hear because Zoom canceled it out. I apologize. I am going to release this tomorrow or maybe tonight as soon as I can get it uploaded because I didn't even know if I had clearance to do it until 45 minutes ago. So I just want to say the guy in there that did the tour, Mel, he is the most fantastic guy. He helped us out and I've been in communications with him. So there's more to come because the board of Sterling Hill wants to do some filming with me. So stay tuned. Back to you, Jerry.
okay. As a side note, you may have seen our first co-host of the Zoom Rock Room, also in the video, standing beside Andrew, Brittany Martin. She's the vice president now, right, Andrew?
Yes, she is actually second VP and Region 3 VP. So all the clubs in the area will be hearing from her. Some of the new initiatives that I'm going to be bringing involve her in outreach across the clubs to every single member. We now actually have over 10,000 members. We had 2 more clubs join up, so we're looking at probably 10,300. I want to make sure every single one knows what the EFMLS does and that we are there for them. So, yep, it's going to be great.
All right.
Well,
right.
Jerry, I think Andrew deserves a big round of applause for congratulations.
Thank you all.
You
Yes,
are
sir.
so welcome. Well deserved.
Yes, sir.
Yes, he does.
All right, moving on here. Our Buttonwood Nature Center in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. One of our sponsors, Educate, Inspire, and Unite. Used to be called the Institute, now called Buttonwood since April. And if you want to closer look at Buttonwood and what's going on there, some real exciting stuff going on there, by the way. You can actually become a member of Buttonwood Nature Center by going to their Facebook page and joining. They are still in a capital campaign mode right now, finishing getting the money that they need for the land that they had just purchased, and actually already started some renovations, like building a new bridge so that school buses can get into Buttonwood Nature Center. So things are happening in Waynesboro, so check them out either by the computer or just stay tuned for some more developments. As we were talking earlier before we went on the air, the Youth Archaeology Week in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania is taking place this week. So yeah, we are outside every day this week, and have 12 great 6th, 7th, and 8th graders that are working and finding some really, really cool artifacts on a historical farmstead. If you're in the area, come on out Thursday night, 6:30 at 45 Old York Road in Dillsburg is the address. We don't give out the address very often for archaeological digs, but this is a public program. You need to know where to be going if you want to come. So 45 Old York Road, right outside Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. 6:30, you can come and see and hear what the students are finding and why they're digging there and some of their theories. So, all right, next.
All right, I
Melanie?
couldn't get my button worked there for a second, but Red Lion telescopes with Wade Kraut. If anyone is in the market, if anyone has a birthday coming up, I know we just finished up Father's Day this past weekend. If we have any fathers in the audience, grandfathers in the audience, or father figures, happy Father's Day. But if there is anything coming up, if you are in the market for one, please give them a call. You can call them using that number there, or you can email them at redliontelescopes@gmail.com. You can schedule a time to view them, touch them, and they will even demonstrate any of the telescopes that they have in stock, so you know exactly what you're purchasing. You know how to use it, you know what it's like. So that's a really nice convenience. Like I said, they are located in Red Lion. The address is on the screen there as well. And they have all kinds of customers in York County, Lancaster County, Harrisburg, and the surrounding areas. They do offer free in-home delivery, setup, and overview of how it works. So that is also a really, really nice bonus, the free delivery and the personal note of setting it up for you and talking to you about your newest purchase. So like I said, if you are in the market for one, please give them some contact. Please reach out to them. They will help you. They will take care of you.
Okay. Schedule coming up this summer. We're proud to announce that we finally got the Coral Caverns program organized, and it's going to be on July 2nd, our next time, by the way, with Bill Van Deventer and Steve Lindbergh, who's not in the room tonight, but he's a regular member. But Bill and Steve are going to talk about Coral Caverns in just outside Bedford, Pennsylvania. It's a real cool place to go. July 16th, be aware of this. This is not, we will not be around. I'll be doing a program actually at a new county park in Schuylkill County called, get this one, Frog Hollow County Park. How about that? Frog Hollow. And I'll be doing a geology tour of Frog Hollow County Park. If you want to come to east of Pine Grove, Schuylkill County. Neat little small park, but be some different geology. August the 6th, meteorites in Pennsylvania. We will be doing the 20th. We'll be talking about who Atreus Wainer was, a Yorker who actually made it pretty famous in particularly the fossil record. And you'll be amazed that not many people in the country have 5 fossils named after him like he does. And September 3rd, this is going to be your program. You've been on vacation someplace, not only in the summer, but spring, whatever. We want to see some pictures of your trip. And geology is everywhere, so you can always plug geology into your pictures somehow, some way. So just be ready for that. That's the day after Labor Day, by the way. And September 17th, the geology in the Battle of Gettysburg this is a repeat program from a few years ago. Had a request for it again. It's been updated actually a little bit since you all may have last seen the program. And that's the end of the intro. And Melanie, in my younger days, I actually worked in an orange juice factory. You probably didn't know that.
I did not.
But it was short-lived. I got canned. sort of thing. But I was recently I pulled a muscle. I pulled a muscle recently out panning for gold. It was just a minor injury.
Mm-hmm. I like that one. That was good.
And this one I can't take credit for, but I'm going to give Ken Michaels credit because he emailed it to me. He said, why was the fossil bad at public speaking?
What did you say?
Why was the fossil bad at public speaking?
Why?
Because he was petrified.
That's also a good one. I like that one also.
Thank you, Ken, for that. You're right beside me on the screen I'm watching there, Ken. But yeah, seriously, when I was in high school, I was petrified to get in front of the class and talk. Look at me now, sort of thing. So anyway, all right. So yeah, we anybody else that's done some accomplishments in the last 2 weeks or so besides Andrew? Congratulations. I did hear Paul Fagley talking about the trip he's trying to do with the Ollie class up in State College, sort of thing. So get out there and enjoy that. So hopefully it comes off all right too. We're going to move right into the program. I know Melanie probably doesn't have a intro for our speaker tonight, which is me. But anyway,
Excuse me, I think there's something wrong on my phone, Jerry. Is it on your side or?
I doubt it. We seem to be okay over here.
Oh, and why did you get canned?
That's a joke.
What's the joke?
I got canned.
Because why?
Yeah, orange juice cans.
Oh,
Okay.
you like
All right. So anyway, tonight's program is Fossils of Pennsylvania. And again, the ones that are maybe tuning in for your very first time to the Zoom Rock Room, welcome aboard. The program is being recorded and will be put on YouTube. I do have to caution you that our old website, jonesgeo.com, is no longer working because of some things that happened because our webmaster passed away a few months ago, and we didn't have all the information that we should have had to update things. So we actually are now with a new webmaster, and we're building a new website, and the address is actually going to be jonesgeo.us. So it's under construction, as they say. So hopefully we'll have some pages up here within the next 2 weeks, because I do need a website in about 2 weeks to do a program. So anyway, welcome aboard, everybody. Fossils in Pennsylvania. As I say, life beneath your feet. So what we're going to kind of do here is once we get rolling, we're going to take Pennsylvania and start at the oldest rocks and work up to the more recent rocks. And generally speaking, what kind of fossils are found in Pennsylvania, maybe where. And we're not going to go into every detail, every little fossil that are found, but you might hear me saying throughout the program a word called a formation, like the Chickies Formation or the Kinzers Formation. If you don't know what a geologic formation is, it's a body of rock having measurable thickness. It usually is composed of one or two rock types, like shale, limestone, things like that, formed during a certain time span under one environment, and can be used as a time marker. In other words, we can get pretty close to how old that rock is or how old that fossil is, again, based on maybe the fossil itself. And it's usually named by an early geologist in reference to where the best exposure is. Again, for example, the Chickies Formation, named from Chickies Rock over in Lancaster County. The early geologist said that's the best outcrop of the rock. That's what the rock should be looking like. So henceforth, that's where the formation will be named from. So this is basically a rundown of everything that we're going to cover tonight in Pennsylvania. Okay. We have a varied chapters of geologic history. As you can see there, we have an ocean environment, which includes the building of a continental shelf. We have swamps like the Everglades. We had another ocean in the western part of Pennsylvania. Again, swamps, lakes, and streams. We had some known extinctions happening. And the last thing was the Ice Age, way up there at the top. So, and there are fossils represented in each one of those chapters in Pennsylvanian geologic history that we're going to show you. Oh, so the fossil record, as we call it, okay? The fossil record is basically everything I just showed you, from the oldest to the youngest. And it all tells a story, like I just told you about the ocean and the swamps and the things. So in the beginning, the Cambrian rocks. The Cambrian is the oldest geologic period within what we call the Paleozoic era, which means early life. And you see outlined there in the blue are areas of Cambrian sedimentary rocks. Okay, fossils are not usually in metamorphic rocks. That's what's shown there in the southeastern corner of Pennsylvania in the purple. Those are metamorphic rocks. We don't expect to find fossils in those rocks because they would have been destroyed with the changing of the rock from a sedimentary rock to a metamorphic rock. But you see, we have sites there. We have the Chickies Rock in the red triangle, Lancaster's in the green, York's in the yellow, and out there in the left of the big blue area is Mount Sidonia. Those sites we're going to visit because they have Cambrian age fossils. Some of the oldest fossils that you'll find in Pennsylvania are located at those 4 sites. So that's what Chickies Rock looks like today. Okay, and it is known as an anticline, where the rock is actually pushed up into an arch shape. If you can follow my cursor going across there. And as I mentioned earlier, this is the home of the Chickies Formation. And it was also the home of a naturalist, a person who actually knew a lot about a lot. His name was Samuel Haldeman. He was born upriver from Chickies Rock in 1812 and actually died in his mansion at Chickies Rock in 1880. And the mansion's no longer standing just north of Chickies Rock. You can actually see where the house was. But Mr. Haldeman, he was also, one of his famed things was that he wrote the first treatise for freshwater mollusks out of the Susquehanna River, which I understand is still being used today. So Samuel actually knew a lot about, as I said, a lot of things. Lastly, as he was going blind, he became a expert in history of languages around the world. But at Chickies Rock, that was his playground. He found a thing that looked like this. And we're looking at the tubes, and he wondered what the tubes were. He obviously said, well, that's some kind of fossil. I don't know what it is. He sent a specimen to a guy named Charles Darwin, who wrote back Charles sent a letter back to him, said they're called Scolipus worm tubes, and not just dirt worms. These were marine worms, sea worms that lived. So Chickies Rock then was based, you can picture that as a beach. Very, very old, about 541 million years ago, which is right on the border of what we call the Cambrian period and the Precambrian period of no life. So these are the oldest fossils in Pennsylvania. And although we have never seen the animal, we have never seen the worm, because worms do not fossilize, they decay away. These were the burrows of the worms, because the scientists have never seen the animal. We are 99% sure that's what they are, but we cannot say 100% sure that they are what we think they are. But they are named from Chickies Rock. And if you're a geologist in Germany, you find Scolithus, that rock pretty much is 541 million years old. And you can look that up on the internet, and it will say the type site, Chickies Rock. Out at Mount Sidonia Sand Quarry, which is just west of Caledonia State Park. One of the most beautiful quarries that I've been in on top of the mountain. You can find Scolithus worm tubes in some of the rocks. It's basically about the same rock. It's a different formation, but it's about the same age. And if you are a visitor to Pine Grove Furnace State Park, in their sand quarry, back behind the campground, there are also Scolithus tubes in that rock. York and Lancaster County, here's a formation that's really, really popular called the Kinders Formation. Okay, there's York, Lancaster over here. The Kinders on this particular geological map is deep purple. And the Kinders Formation is well known for an animal class called trilobites and some other things. Actually, some very, very recent things have been discovered within the Kinders Formation. So here's what the kind of Kinders looks like. It's a shale and limestone unit. Mostly the shale is where you want to be looking to find these gorgeous trilobites. The thing to keep in mind, though, during the Cambrian period, 515 million years ago now, sea life wasn't really abundant. Okay, there wasn't a lot of animals in the ocean. There was trilobites and some brachiopods and a couple other things I'm going to show you here, but fossil animals were not real abundant. So fossils are not real abundant. You know, if you go to a Kinders outcrop and you maybe find a trilobite once every 5 visits, you're doing good. But when you find one, they're really neat and they're really cool. Like this Owen Ellis, as it's called. Okay, this is from the Chris Hafner collection. And head, body, and tail. Again, with marine life. 515 million years ago. The trilobites are actually a long distance relative to horseshoe crabs. There's no direct connection, but to give you the closest connection, it's a horseshoe crab. And just ironically, for you to think about something, sometimes in the fossil record, we're able to see things changing from one to another type of species as the fossil record goes up into younger rock. However, trilobites just simply showed up 515 million years ago. They just showed up. Like, where did they come from? And we really don't know that answer. Here's a Winnerius. I mentioned Atreus Weiner, going to be an August program. Here's one of the trilobites that's named after him, Winnerius, from the Carrie-Mack collection. A little bit different than an Owen Ellis, but again, very, very old trilobite found in York, Lancaster counties for the most part. Here's a Capistrama. Capistrama is a echinoderm, like a sponge. And these are, they're not as common as trilobites, but they do exist. So again, this gives you a picture that there were some sponge animals, echinoderms living in the Cambrian Ocean with the trilobites. And actually, this is a brand new type of species, only been officially a new species for the last 2 years. Yorkocystris hafneri. Again, another echinoderm. Our friend that's been in the Zoom Rock Room before and did some programs for us, Chris Hafner of Lancaster, found this specimen actually in York County. and he recognized it as something that was very strange. And I don't think that's really a fossil that's been identified. So he went to work and he did actually it got sent overseas, I believe, to Spain to be studied and identified. And yes, he had a brand new species of Echinoderm. In a formation that's just a little bit younger than the Kinzer formation. In what's called the Ledger Formation, that's in York County and Lancaster County. They found some stromatolites, which are like a coral type of animal, on what we call a microbial sheet, which again, coral type of life. This was found in a quarry in West York, and there was a paper written about it from DeWitt and Hopkins in 2006. But this is more of a reef building type of structure. And actually it was the first fossils found within the Ledger Formation, which is a limestone dolomite. So based on their fossil find of the stromatolites and the microbial sheets, they know exactly where on the continental shelf that rock was formed. And that's what they're showing here at the arrows, is that it was the top of the continental shelf. You can see they have the Ledger Reef labeled there. So a lot of times fossils help us find out exactly in what environment they lived, sort of thing. All right, so that's the Cambrian. That's what we just came through down here in this part with the ocean. Okay, we're going to move up a little bit younger into the Ordovician period of Pennsylvania. Here's your Ordovician rocks. Not real common, by the way, in Pennsylvania, right? You need to be in what I call the western part of the Great Valley, near Chambersburg, working up toward Carlisle, a little bit in the Appalachians. But again, the red triangle is a site, I call it the Kaufman site. The yellow triangle is the Soterra Gap site. We're going to talk about both of those right here. Soterra Gap, very, very famous, although it's now closed to collecting because of the undermining of the Interstate 81 bridge. It was a very, very famous site because of these guys. Starfish. Some of the oldest starfish in the world have been found at Soterra Gap. And obviously made a lot of famous appearances there. There's also found there a Cryptolithus trilobite amongst about 2 other species of trilobites, but this little short guy, aren't they really cute? These little short trilobites, again, lived with the starfish, Ordovician period, and you can actually find these still up on the road cut on Interstate 81 above the bridge, which is actually where's Soterra Gap, by the way, if you don't know. It's the first gap you go through, traveling north on Interstate 81 after you go past the Lebanon exit. The first gap you go through, you go across the bridge, and the rock cut on 81, which I don't encourage you to stop and collect, because you won't spend much time there before the police get there to escort you away. But the actual famous Soterra Gap fossil site was under the bridge. Down at the Kaufman site, again, Ordovician period, we found some Ordovician trilobites. This is actually a pretty old site that we rediscovered by looking at some older fossil collecting books in Pennsylvania. And we read about the Kaufman site, and we actually went down and talked to the railroad and to the owner. The location is actually in an abandoned railroad cut, and it's pretty messy and junky in the summertime. Wintertime's really the best time to go there with the landowner's permission. But you can find some pretty good fossils in there, although, like I said, it's been well collected over the years. It's still there. I know my friend, Mr. Cooper, who's in the room tonight, was there with me at one time anyway. close by in Greencastle, stromatolites. These are stromatolites in the limestone. Stromatolites are, again, a type of marine fossil similar to coral. The Great Barrier Reef in Australia still has stromatolites living. And by the way, stromatolites came into our rock record about 2.1 billion years ago. And guess what? They're still living today. All the extinctions of our animals the stromatolites have avoided all those extinctions. They're still living today. What a record they have. In that part of Pennsylvania too, in the western part of what I call the Great Valley, there's graptolites, as they are called, that can be found in some of the black shale. Again, a little bit west of Chambersburg and north of Chambersburg, there's a couple of sites for the graptolites. These creatures, we're not totally sure what they were. Some of them look like they have saw teeth edges on. Some apparently have some tails, and they may have been anchored to the ocean bottom. They certainly were marine animals, but how they functioned is not totally understood yet. So don't think we know all the answers. No, we don't. All right, we're going to move up into the Silurian and the Devonian periods. Now, as you see, we're working up into through the Paleozoic, still in the ocean environment. Here's the Silurian rocks within the Appalachian Mountains. Again, not real common out there. Mostly all in the Appalachians. And the Devonian rocks, look at this. Devonian takes over a lot of the Appalachian Mountains. I mean, about 30% of the Appalachian Mountains are Devonian in age. And again, we've marked 2 sites on here. Red triangle is New Ringgold, Schuylkill County, and the Red Hill fossil site is out here above State College. Now, keep in mind, during the Devonian period, the ocean that covered Pennsylvania, called the Iapetus, was at its maximum for population. Any animal that lived in the ocean, and the great numbers of those animals, happened during the Devonian period. So if you want to find fossils, your higher percentage of finding fossils is to go to a Devonian site. And there's plenty of other sites out there in the Appalachians with the Devonian fossils. So right in that area, for example, here's the New Ringgold site up in Schuylkill County. If you've been to Cabela's outdoor store, this is about 20 minutes north and a little bit east of Cabela's at New Ringgold, Pennsylvania, about 1 mile east of New Ringgold. Great fossil site right now. They're finding all kind of cool things about it. Like I said, anything that lived in the Devonian in what's called the Montago Formation. There's a name. If you're into fossils, you like Devonian, find yourself where the Montago Formation exists, you're going to find fossils. I do guarantee it. So within the ocean, we had bryozoan living, we had crinoids living, we had brachiopods living, pelecypods, better known as clams. We had 4 different types of trilobites. Gastropods were well established. The cephalopods, which is like a nautilus, well established. And even into the late Devonian, there's now been some wood found. Again, at New Ringgold. As we kind of transitioned, that's shown us a transition from the ocean environment up onto land. So that's kind of an important little find there. But all these other creatures are there in abundance. Okay. So here's a Greenops trilobite, Devonian trilobite. You can tell him by on the end of the trilobite, you have these nodes sticking out to make him a Greenops. One of the bigger trilobites in the Devonians it's called a diplora. It's like this. This one's 5 inches long. And we've not found a complete diplora yet at New Ringgold. We found bits and pieces, but he's found in other Devonian sites. Here's a horned coral. This is actually from Swatara State Park, which is the same formation, the Monotongo, and you can find you can still collect there. That's one of the few state parks that you can actually collect in. And here's some bryozoans showing up, the little dots right there. So neat little specimen. Crinoids, the stems, either the side view looking like this, or the circles that are like a top bottom view, are very, very common. You'll find loads and loads of crinoid stems. But the calyxes, the tops, they're pretty rare in Pennsylvania with their tentacles. Ohio, you have a better chance to find the calyxes. But this is what was on top. This is how the animal fed with his tentacles. He had his mouth at the top. Tentacles catch the food, put the food in his mouth, and digest it. And New Ringgold is kind of known for producing some calyxes, which is they're not real common, but they have been found. Not quite as well preserved as that picture right there. I will trust you that one. In fact, here's the New Ringgold calyx right here. That's the first one that we found in I think 2013. Was the top of a crinoid. And over here, brachiopod shell, again, very common within the Devonian, wherever you might be collecting. Trilobite tracks. These little marks in here is where a trilobite walked across the mud at the ocean bottom and did leave his tracks. Paperclip there for scale. And the Eldridgeops. It belongs to the family of the Phacops. This is our state fossil of Pennsylvania, folks, if you did not know that. If you look it up, it will say Phacops only. After the state legislature voted the Phacops in as the state fossil of Pennsylvania, a paleontologist did come into our state, do a study of on our Phacops trilobites, and he said, you don't have any Phacops rana species here. They are called Eldridgeops rana. But do you think the state legislature is going to go back and change the name of the state fossil? The answer is no. So we just tell everybody it's still called Phacops. Very common fossil within the Devonian period. Okay, the Red Hill fossil site became famous a few years ago because they started to find fish parts. Yep, fish parts in the late Devonian. And so again, this was a transitional going from Devonian marine fossils strictly almost to a fish type of thing. And the Red Hill site is now closed because of the safety of the road cut and safety of the people that used to collect there and undermining the road cut. So you can just drive by and just say, there it is. So here's some of the teeth, the fish teeth that were found, the Hyneria teeth that made that site very famous. Drexel Hill does have a very small museum right next to the road cut. That's open occasionally when somebody's available to open it up. Here's a part of the fish, the armored plate found at Red Hill. All right, we're going to move on. Pennsylvania and Mississippian and the Pennsylvanian periods. Better known as the Carboniferous. This is when our coal regions of Pennsylvania were being formed, particularly the Pennsylvanian. And we had the climate then of pretty much about the Everglades swamps. So again, we have now transitioned out of the ocean and we've moved into terrestrial land. And this is where we have the swampies and the carboniferous rocks, Mississippian and Pennsylvanian, are all in the blue here across Pennsylvania. And again, pretty much reflecting our coal, as in the anthracite coal on the east side, and all this out here contains the bituminous coal. Carboniferous is the other name. So in the anthracite region, it's called the Llewellyn Formation. And within the Llewellyn, you can find, of course, your famous fern fossils, petrified wood, as Roxanne is digging here. And she popped that slab up, and look what was underneath at St. Clair. So these fossils actually have a white mineral on top of them to highlight them. It was all formed in the same environment within the Everglade type of swamp, deprived from oxygen. So they did not decay away. And it's actually one of the very, very few sites where there's white fern fossils preserved in the world. Sites pretty much closed unless you pay a very hefty permit to go on their property. I was there about 2 months ago, and really there's nothing there. It's an ATV park, and you won't find any small rocks. It's all the rocks are about a dollar size type of rock now, being ran over by the ATVs. So here's a closer up of the white fern fossils, piece of petrified wood that you might find sticking within the mostly the quartzite, the sandstone, I should say, in the St. Clair area. So again, the Llewellyn, very and actually out west again in the Pennsylvania rocks, all these types of ferns are identifiable. The single area was a bush. That's kind of a very common one, the calamites. It looks like a type of palm tree. Again, pretty common type of petrified wood that you see a lot of that on the PA rock hounding. And this is kind of neat, huh? We have ourselves a giant Eurypterad that was found up in Elk County. And there's no scale on here, but these footprints are pretty far apart from each other. So Carnegie estimates that the length of this particular Eurypterad that made these footprints over here was about 23 feet long. A gigantic Eurypterad. You know, I do talk about Dean Rocchio occasionally, who's actually finding Eurypterads in Pennsylvania now at sites that they were not known to be there before. And Dean's doing a fabulous job in recording, and he actually has written an article on his Eurypterad finds. So not sure what a Eurypterad looks like. Might want to study up on that, particularly if you're in the Appalachians, because they seem to be maybe a little bit more common than what we thought they were originally. All right, moving on, we're going to go into the Permian period. This is a time that most of Pennsylvania was land, but there's a little bit of an ocean remaining in the southwestern corner of Pennsylvania. And that's way out there in Washington County and Greene County, as the ocean was actually migrating to the west. This is the last hurrah. But out there, if you're from the southwestern corner of Pennsylvania, you can find these very, very small fish parts. Okay, as in the teeth, or you can find the Spirobus gastropods, These armored fish plates with the teeth are only found in Greene and Washington counties. All right, and that's all I'm gonna say about the Permian because there's not much to say. And then we get into the cool stuff. The Triassic into the early Jurassic period, the Mesozoic era. And if you're listening, you probably do know Mesozoic means the age of the dinosaurs. So we had lakes, streams, and swamps as we were again tropical still. We were pretty much located where Florida is today, southern Florida. I just added this to make you laugh just a little bit. That's called inflation, folks. I thought it was funny. Triassic rocks, only found in this part of Pennsylvania. We call it the Mesozoic Basin. Basins that go from, actually they run from Nova Scotia down into Alabama. But here in Pennsylvania, it's only in the southeastern part in the Piedmont. And again, we've marked some sites as in Berks County, the black, the dark red is Lancaster, York County, the blue, and Adams County, the brighter red. And that area over there is the most of that rock along the New Jersey border is early Jurassic in age. They're just a little bit younger than our Triassic rocks in why would I say southeastern Pennsylvania. Oops. So in York County, these are some of the petrified wood that's have been found in York County, related to a palm tree type of genus. And within the New Oxford Formation, also there's some fern fossil sites. They're very rare, but there are several real nice fern fossil sites where you can find these Triassic aged fossils. 2012 find of a Grawlater footprint in Adams County at the that was called the Fairfield Quarry of Valley Quarries, actually found by the Franklin County Rock and Mineral Club. They had a field trip in there, and with their field trip, one of their collectors spotted this right here, three-toed animal, and they actually sent me a picture to verify, is this what I think it is? And indeed it was. Dinosaur footprint. Here's another one with mud cracks preserved in it. So this sediment did dry out by the sun and got cracked. Luckily, it did not go through that dinosaur footprint. So all those prints pretty much in the Valley Quarry at Fairfield have been vandalized and taken. This one is from over in Berks County, called a Grawlater, which is the same as what I just showed you. I'm going to show you a picture of a Grawlater here very soon. But the three-toed animal, again, Triassic in age. Historically, this slab was found in Trossel Quarry, which is located in Adams County along the Bermudian Creek, just south of York Springs. And 1937, the quarry was active. They found 57 different footprints there. And this is actually an Atriopus footprint. That's his footprint. And that little two things right there was his handprint. A beautiful specimen. And some of these footprints actually are now on the Gettysburg battlefield. The bridge at the base of Big Round Top, which I think I might be showing you. So here's a Grawlater footprint. It's kind of elongated. The toe is a little bit longer than an Atriopus compared to next door here. Both of these actually are on the Gettysburg Battlefield Bridge at the base of Big Round Top, which you still can't get to because of the renovations being taking place at Little Round Top. But these are both on that bridge. Here's the handprint of the Atripus and the footprint. And this guy's on the other side of the bridge as a Grawlator. This is what we think a Grawlator might have looked like. Maybe 6 feet tall when he was standing on his legs, and about 8 feet long from the end of the tail to the end of his nose. There's a Triassic animal called a Rudodon, which again is kind of rare. There's not been many Rudodons found in Pennsylvania, but they are found in the Triassic. And this particular tooth, I'm not going to tell the story of how it was found, how I found it, but it basically it did go back to Princeton University, where the rest of the Mr. Bear collection is housed. But you can see that Mr. Bear did find it in the Big Conewago Creek in northern York County. So Rudodon looked like a modern day crocodile. This is Dr. Robert Staley in 1910. He was walking up the creek looking for fossils, basically. He was a medical doctor, but he was walking up the creek and he saw a snout of a Rudodon sticking out of the creek bank and called the appropriate authorities. And he discovered what's today called the Zion's View site. This is what a Rudodon looks like at the Zion's View site in 1970s and 71. The Pennsylvania State Museum came in and did their excavation season both years at Zion's View, removing about 8 to 10 skeletons of the Rudodon, and they also found skeletons of a amphibian that did live with the dinosaurs. So the Zion's View site was very important. It's very important because we know there's more material there to be collected, and that's why the Zion's View site's not really, the locality is not really released, because it needs to be protected. This is found in Lancaster County in Bowmansdale in northern Lancaster County. Again, Triassic in age. Spahodosaurus was debated for a number of years about what it really is. And the last I heard, the acceptable theory is that this was a turtle, a Triassic turtle. This is actually on display. It was on display at the North Museum in Lancaster. I'm sure it's probably still where it was last time I saw it. But this is kind of a neat little discovery. Like I said, it changed back and forth from the lizard to turtles a couple times. All right, and we're going to move, I think, way up to the top. Yeah, the end of the Ice Age. We had no big dinosaurs, the famous dinosaurs in our area here, so nothing to talk about. We were just like we are today, just the plain old land. Okay, so Ice Age locations in Pennsylvania, and there's a few more than this, really, but Monroe County, the York County site, and there's a site in Adams County, and there's also one up in Center County, above State College, where they found a woolly mammoth. You're going to see very soon. In York County Fireman's Training Center in Amicksville, in Pennsylvania, it houses what's called the Bootlegger Sinkhole. Apparently 10,000, 8,000 years ago, the sinkhole, which is now boarded up and covered up, was active during the Ice Age. We had the climate of a Hudson Bay area here. We did not have glaciers in York County. The glaciers were 50 miles north and northwest of Harrisburg. But we had the climate of Hudson Bay. And animals got too close to the opening of the sinkhole. They fell in, they died, got covered up by rain carrying calcium carbonate from the area limestone that's in the sinkhole, and became fossilized. So here's several bones, for example, have been found, and here's the list of animals that have been identified out of the Bootlegger Sinkhole in York County, now in the collection of Carnegie Museum in Pittsburgh. And just look over a few of them. Here's a couple of shrews. Down at the bottom is caribou. There's a porcupine, flying squirrels. And you'll look at some of the stuff that says the hyperthermal means that it got a little bit warmer. So we had some animals that maybe wanted to be also living more popularly in North Carolina, and then moved to Pennsylvania when the weather changed. So these are the three time periods that Carnegie kind of locked them in. So this at one time was Bootlegger Sinkhole was just one of 4 Ice Age mammal fossil sites in the world. And that's why the firemen, York County firemen's fire chiefs voted to keep the sinkhole open for professionals because it was a significant area. Over in Hanover at the Bethlehem is now called Vulcan Quarry. A mastodon mandible was found. That wasn't surprising because in the early 1970s, the quarry did hit several sinkholes where they did find mastodon bones that Carnegie Institute came in and excavated, properly removed and preserved them back in Pittsburgh. This particular specimen had an interesting story, though. 15,000 years ago is when this mastodon lived, but there was a retired dentist. He's now deceased. Dr. Tome from Hanover was on a tour of the quarry in Hanover, I think with the Sertoma Club, and they were sitting at the crusher, and the quarry employee was discussing how the crusher works. Dr. Tome kept looking out the bus window and seeing this shiny thing out there in the pile. And when the employee was done in his little dissertation, Dr. Tome said, "What's that shiny thing out there in the pile?" And the employee went out, and here's what he found right there: the lower mandible of a mastodon. And they actually gave the specimen to Dr. Tome. Dr. Tome was not a collector of fossils or minerals, but believe me, he kept this very close to him. And I actually heard about it and tracked down Dr. Tome and was able to go up to his house and take pictures of this mandible. And Dr. Sullivan, now retired from the Pennsylvania State Museum, Monroe County, they did the excavation on this mastodon. It's called the Marshall's Creek Mastodon in Monroe County up in northeastern Pennsylvania. As I said, there was also a similar one out in central Pennsylvania in Center County. So there are a few mastodons that have been found in Pennsylvania. They are the most recent types of fossils. So as I wind it down here, if you haven't heard of the app called RockD, it's a great app, folks. If you haven't used it, it's great. It's free to download. Gives you a geological map of any place that you're going to be in the world, basically. It tells you all about the rock. It tells you the ages. It does have fossil sites, mineral sites. If you dive into it deeper than just the geological map, we have several people within our Zoom rock room that love it. And actually, I know, of course, we have one in the room that used it to go across country, looking at the geology. So download the free app, RockD. It's really neat. I'm getting a little tired, and I'm going to stop right there. So hopefully I might have learned a little bit. Very general talk about some fossils. There's some other things going on in the fossil record in Pennsylvania that are don't want to be released too much yet out there. But anyway, so thanks for joining us. Anybody have any questions? Let me read some of the comments if I may. Andrew says that Chickies has some of the highest radioactive rocks. Actually, it's one of the most radon highest groundwater rocks formations in Pennsylvania, actually. If you have a groundwater well into the Chickies, you may have an issue. And they did, Andrew, you do, yes, he is the future of fossil geology of Pennsylvania. If you have not seen Dean or heard Dean talk in our Zoom rock room, he's an amazing high school student doing some fabulous work. So, thank you again for the comments. So, all right, get out there and look for some fossils. So, all right. Anybody else have any comments they want to make, or before we turn it over to Melanie? Thank you, Deb. Let me know what kind of fossils you might find there. New Ringgold, that's a great place, and Andrew will advertise to you Andrew will also advertise to you the site that he works up in the Appalachian Mountains. Okay, Melanie, close it out for us.
No problem. Thank you all for joining us again this week, and we will see you next time. Enjoy these summer days and don't get too hot. Drink a lot of water.
Okay. We'll see you all, our friends.